it comes to this change, right? There's one, and change is the only constant. And so in that constant, leadership development can only be a continuum. So how do you as leaders, take care of your body, heart, mind, and soul? So I'll be curious to find out how you nourish yourselves across these dimensions.
Yeah, a lot of mine goes back to focusing on my mental health. So I'm diagnosed as bipolar. I actually was listening to an Andreessen Horowitz podcast, and they said almost all the entrepreneurs that they work with are some level of I don't even remember the exact word that
Diverse.
They use. Yeah, neurodiverse. And so for me, it's been really focusing on my mental health. And so that's seeing a therapist every single week, even if I don't feel like I need to go to see her. And then I do a lot of work. I have an integrative care doctor. So it's trying to be preventative as opposed to treating the symptoms of your illness. And so we focus a lot on supplementation, exercise, what you're eating. I haven't been great about that. That's my stress. I'm a stress eater. So I'm glad the camera's like up here and opposed to down a little lower. So I won't say I've got it all figured out. That's the one area, but it's what I've been working on is trying to get rid of the things that I do to try to numb shame or pain or other types of things, and trying to get rid of those things. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. How do you nourish your mind, Tony? I mean, you've told me about your body, your heart and your soul, yeah. But how do you nourish your mind? How do you keep that active to kind of build the organization?
Yep. Yeah. So I'm part of a mastermind group through the University of Michigan. I have several other CEOs that we have a set time on the calendar, and we just kind of talk about each other's businesses. It allows you to step back and get out of the grind and actually think about things as a whole. That optimized program I mentioned, it's a 300-day coaching or 300-day program where you can become an optimized coach. A lot of that is distilling down a bunch of like self-help books and business books, and then podcasts, and I'm not a great reader. I love Audible, listening to things. So I'm happy when I have like a 5-hour drive and I could just listen to a book or something. So, and then I took a month off right around my 40th birthday. So you called us all young earlier. I don't know if I'm young. I just turned 40, but I did a month-long RV trip around the Western United States, which was great just to kind of give myself a little bit of space for thinking.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Good, Veeru.
5-hour drive for us in Singapore seems like fun, huh?
Yes, we've been boxed for a year, right? We're inside 30 kilometers and we can't do anything pretty much. But of course, we'll have to say kudos to the nation to keep us all safe.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, Chennai is 3 hours away, but we'd rather just sort of be here for now. See, but yeah, all in good time. I think, no, in my case, I think, well, firstly, I'm married to a pastry chef who's also an entrepreneur. So I think that's a good thing sometimes to switch off from the content zone. So that keeps you, because you find out about what she's doing, how the orders are going, etc. What's new.
If I was married to a pastry chef, I'd be 1,000 pounds. I don't know how you
I've been asked this question constantly, but so that helps with the mental side of it for sure. But also I play a lot of tennis, sometimes a little too much because we can't travel. We're here. So I end up, 4 or 5 times a week. Sometimes the other week it was all 7 days. But I think one thing I found is that switching off is nice. Yes, with my wife's business and understanding that. Reconnecting with people as well, Priya, just even old friends in Singapore, I just find that's nice. Not talking about work, just talking about what each one's been up to, etc., etc. That's been nice. One thing that I learned from my mother-in-law a couple of years ago, and I do it all the time, unless I have an early morning start, I never sleep with the phone in my room or the laptop.
Wonderful.
And that I think has kept me sane for this entire phase. Because it goes off. Yes, you can put it on airplane mode and all that. I get all that. But, if you have Wi-Fi, light goes off and then you're quickly on it. But that I found is extremely calming. So you wake up the next day, you're fresh. You look at stuff that you need to overnight. So yeah, so a mixture of tennis, chocolate cakes, and not keeping the phone in the room.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, when you said chocolate flakes, I'm reminded of this picture that I drew in one of the leadership programs. So it's taking Stephen Covey's typically the pebbles, the rocks, pebbles, and sand kind of a thing. And at the end of it, I actually said you asked the leaders to say, what are your big rocks, what are your pebbles, what's your sand, and what's the chocolate milk shake that you want to add to the spot, right? So that you're able to treat yourself to that, right? And that kind of took them, oh wow, can I treat myself at the end of it? And that's when we realized, yes, it's good to have the treat, right? It's good to nourish yourself with all the goodies that you're used to, instead of always thinking that they're off zone.